I'm a big fan of the Scream movies. I've always loved them. The first two, particularly, I'd say, because those are kind of the ones that I grew up with. You know, in the '90s on VHS. I was probably 10 when the first Scream movie came out, or at least when I first saw it on VHS. So wasn't old enough to see the first two in theaters at the time, but they're movies that I really loved. I cherished. I watched them over and over on the tapes that I had. So I mean, they're bona fide classics at this point. And what was kind of cool was that this past Halloween, I was actually able to see the first Scream movie on the big screen. A local theater was playing it. So I went on Halloween of just this last year, Halloween 2021. So that was great to see the movie on the big screen, but it was also, it was kind of a big deal for me because that was actually the first movie I went to see in a theater for probably 2 years, since the pandemic started and everything was closing and stuff like that. So yeah, like the first movie in 2 years was Scream that I saw. So I think that's kind of nice. It's a nice new memory I have of Scream, kind of a comfort movie, I guess. And it's great to see it. There wasn't a huge audience, but it still played very well, and you know had all the makings of the classic that it is, right? Um, the funny thing is though, like, uh, well, what was kind of cool was that before the movie, they actually played the trailer for the new Scream movie upcoming, which was kind of cool. But by the time the new one came out, this new 2022 version edition of Scream, all the theaters, were closed, for lockdowns and stuff like that. At least in my area, so there was literally no way to see it. And once things started opening, it seemed like it was coming on digital soon, so it's just come on digital, and I've finally watched it. So, and I was able to do so spoiler free. So, very happy to do so. Avoid spoilers for the movie, but this is going to be a spoiler review. So, if you haven't seen the movie, you don't want anything given away, just be warned now because it's going to be pretty spoiler heavy in this video. I'll just say right off the bat, though, I thought they did a pretty good job. Thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed it. So I don't have any like huge problems with it. I thought, they delivered what they set out to do. I believe, and it's a difficult thing this time around because, of course, the Scream movies kind of a rarity among horror series is that every single film up to this point had been directed by the same person, Wes Craven. So now that he has passed, do they want to kind of respectfully put the series away, or do they want to continue it and do it in kind of like a way to honor him? And that's kind of the direction they've chosen this time around. So um, it's very much, reverent when it comes to the source material, and it does find its own kind of style about it. Like it is directed by uh, two fellas who had previously directed a pretty good movie, Ready or Not. Um, Matt Bettinelli Oplin and Tyler Gillette. Uh, you could see how their talents in that film could translate to a Scream film, and it has this time around. Um, so they don't try to copy the Wes Craven style exactly. So it's a difficult tightrope to walk in terms of how to do it. But obviously, there's certain things that people expect from a Scream movie, so they don't want to veer too far away from that and kind of give the audience what they want. And I think they do that, and they do that in their own way, on their own terms, but still in a respectful way for the original creator, Wes Craven. So I mean, they handled that quite well. And of course, at the very end, there's a dedication for Wes, and the sound of a bird because he was a birder. He was very much a bird enthusiast. So there's a little Wes Craven fact for you. So they handled all that well. When it comes to telling a new story, how we're gonna do it, I mean, that's That's the rub, isn't it? So that's kind of what I was most curious about in seeing this movie, because I think I only saw like the one trailer actually when I went to see the original Scream. So I only saw like kind of like an early trailer. I think there may have been another, but I didn't quite know what the angle was here, because of course there's always an angle to these Scream movies, right? I mean, when it comes to the sequels, Scream 2 had, an easy angle of it's all about sequels. Scream 3, it's all about trilogies, and Scream 4 about remakes. It kind of, caught the remake craze just kind of at the tail end of it, really, when it comes to the horror genre. Here, what's being explored is the requel, which I guess is their made up word, or maybe it's a word that does exist, but my first time hearing it, I guess, is in this movie, or maybe not. Who knows? But it's the requel, so it's like sort of a reboot, sort of a remake. It is starting fresh in a sense. It is sort of a sequel that it respects certain continuity, and of course, it brings the legacy characters into play, and they kind of pass the baton. That's kind of the angle that they're working with in that movie, in this movie, and of course, that's fair enough kind of angle to take, right? Because we have been seeing quite a bit of that. I mean, the most recent Ghostbusters had the new characters and the old characters showing up at the end. All different kinds of, like the Star Wars movies, of course, even the Terminator. They all kind of do it. So that's what they're playing with here. It's kind of interesting. It's different. They play with expectations in a certain kind of way, which is nice. Like we get the patented opening sequence where it's the girl home alone, and she gets the call from the killer. It's the ominous Roger Jackson voice on the other end of the line, and they try to update it a little bit. It's not Scream, that's 25 years ago, right? So it's we have the girl, Jenny Ortega. She's playing Tara, who gets attacked, but here's kind of the subversion of expectations. She survives the beginning. It's a very brutal attack, by the way, but she survives, and it kind of draws in her estranged sister, who's Melissa Barrera, playing Sam in the movie, and that kind of starts the whole plot up again. And there's some secrets that lie in the past of Woodsboro, and these two girls have a past that they need to confront, and blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff. And that's what kind of gets things going, and then the characters come in. So that's sort of what it is. They spend a lot of time explaining things, uh, meeting the new characters, the Woodsboro next generation, the new group of teens who's gonna get slashed to bits, and all the friends related to Tara, and all that. And well, and then I don't know, your armchair detective starts thinking, well, okay, so the first victim survived, so maybe it's a subversion of expectations even further, where it's the part of the scheme where Billy Loomis, he faked his stabbing, getting killed, in the bedroom with Sydney in the first film. So maybe this new killer was faking their attack, and I don't know. I'm never really that good at guessing, to be to be honest with you. But thoughts like that kind of come to your mind and stuff like that. But then uh, we get a little bit more of the unraveling of the mystery, and I mean they don't hold back. Like, thankfully, they don't save it for like the very very end. They actually get into it pretty quickly. But basically, the story is it's Sam. She's more or less the main character of the film, and as it would turn out, she's the illegitimate child of Billy Loomis from the first film. So she's Sam Loomis. They're having fun with those little references there. Like, yeah, Billy Loomis. He was from Psycho, right? Okay, okay. So we're doing Sam Loomis now. Well, what'd you change your name to? Some famous director's last name? Anyway, she changed her name to Sam Carpenter. so, so that's what we're working with here. But yeah, she's somehow his daughter. Like, I guess at some point before he died, he was with her mother. You know, obviously unfaithful to Sydney, though. You know, if he's planning to kill her and all her friends, I doubt. You know, fidelity was on the top of his list, but you know, he must have, you know, especially since the whole, you know, sex angle of them not having sex together in the first film was, you know, such a tipping point for him in a weird kind of way in the first movie. So it makes sense that he, you know, snuck off somewhere else, knocked up a girl. And now she is insane like him, I guess. I don't know. She has some problems. She's on, you know, a lot of medication, and she sees visions of her father, like in the mirror and stuff. So that's also what we're dealing with here. And it's, I don't know. It's not distasteful. It's all right. You know, it's, I guess a CGI de-aged whatever Skeet Ulrich. So it works fine. It's pretty good, I guess. But then that gives you totally these Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning vibes, where, you know, the main character is crazy and they're having visions of a killer, and are they so crazy that they're the killer and they don't even know it? It's some crazy, demented psycho thing, you know? But that would be too obvious, right? So again, bad at, bad at guessing these things, but it gives you that kind of vibe and stuff like that. So it's there. And I guess we're really doing the whole lost daughter of Billy Loomis thing. And I don't know. I mean, I thought personally uh, the whole long lost brother thing from Scream 3 was a little far fetched. But you know, you kind of look back on it a little bit. You watch it over a couple of times, and you know, I guess it kind of makes enough sense with Sydney's mom and you know her secret life and all that, and that's what, you know, that was what the whole movie was based on. So it made sense, I guess, overall. I mean, it was kind of cheap, but at the same time kind of fair. Here, I mean, it's just it's, you know, I don't think cheap is the word. It's just, you know, buckle the fuck up. You can accept it or not. And you know what? Whatever. I'll accept it. It's fine. It's whatever. It's the long lost daughter of Billy Loomis. Whatever. I get it. They're doing a new thing. They're passing the torch. They want a recognizable trait, connection of some kind to the original character, which is what these requels are kind of all about, I guess. So fair enough, right? I mean, you can you can accept it or not, but I don't know. I haven't really looked into reviews of the movie, so I don't know if that's a, you know, point of controversy or people think it's stupid. I don't know, but you know, either you can go with it or you don't, and that's, I believe, why they kind of present it so early, so they, you know, give it to you right away, so you have the information ahead of time. If it all kind of spilled out at the end, probably wouldn't be too good. Kind of be a little sloppy. So yeah, take it or take it or leave it. I guess that's all I can say about that. But well, we have these new characters. We of course have the returning legacy characters, and it's great to see them. Of course, Nev Campbell back as Sydney. She's always great, and Courtney Cox and David Arquette. Sadly, you know, maybe another kind of trait of these requels is that the 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 characters who have the love story can never have like a happy ending. So like they're estranged, and Dewey's alone in a trailer drinking, stuff like that. So that's great to see of our beloved characters. But no, Gail's doing great. It's Dewey that's, you know, whatever. But, yeah. what was the line in the movie? You were born to stay in Woodsboro, and you were born to leave, right? So that's kind of what their dynamic is all about. They gave it a shot, but they couldn't make it work. So that's unfortunate, but that's how it went. But seeing all the characters again is very nice. They have a decent enough portion in the movie. Like they're definitely, you can consider them absolutely main characters in the film. So they're there when it counts. I mean, we have the other stuff with the new people and all that, but they kind of bring Dewey along as a consultant and some of the newer scenes and inside the Randy Memorial screening room where they're talking about the new rules and the requels and all that. So they make good use of the characters and of course, I mean, they kind of have to raise the stakes, so not all these legacy characters survive as well. And unfortunately, Dewey dies in the movie. It's actually, it's pretty sad because, I mean, he's a beloved character. He's in all five Scream movies along with Sidney and along with Gale, right? So he's, continued to be a survivor for this long, and not for lack of Ghostface trying in some of those other sequels, right? So to finally kick the bucket and finally die and Ghostface offs him, it's sad to see. It affects the characters, and they make it personal. They go make sure that none of this shit is ever going to happen ever again. Make sure that Dewey didn't die for nothing, right? So that's what brings them to the finale and all that. And of course, the other twist is that it's at Stu's house from the original movie. It's the original house from the very first Scream movie where everything takes place. So that's another homage. Which I mean, they've kind of done that before. In Scream 3, we only really see the exterior. Here we see, inside the house kind of modernized. And it's kind of cool to see. Gives us, the audience this deja vu kind of feeling. Leaning so heavily into that first film and homaging it the way it does, specifically as the requel. So that was kind of cool to see. And, with these Scream movies, there's obviously, there's certain things you do want to see, not just with the angles that they take, just general things that fans have come to like from the movie, and you want it to be a good slasher, a good thrilling slasher with some thrilling scenes and some good gore. Nothing too over the top, but good, interesting, some fun stuff, right? So that's kind of what they all aim for, and of course they all aim for the hip angle of the trendy teens talking in horror lingo to each other and coming up with all their rules and all that, and the new updated rules with each sequel and stuff like that. So they do that with each one, and probably another very important thing is to have a good surprise ending, right? So that's kind of what they all aim for, and I think this one gets most of it down right. Has the good, scary, thrilling scenes, has the meta stuff and all that. Sometimes it goes a little. It veers into strange territory. Like there's that one scene with the character Wes, a tribute to Wes Craven, where his mom, actually Deputy Hicks from the fourth film, she's killed. Cameras following him around, and like you keep seeing like doors open and like the music is getting tense, and then you think someone's going to be standing behind him, and they're not, and they're just fucking with you at this point. It's kind of a stupid scene in my opinion, but maybe others thought it was clever. I don't know, but it has weird stuff like that. But for the most part, good, Ghostface Carnage, good kills and stuff. Some brutal stuff in this movie. They up the ante with the gore, so that's nice to see. But again, nothing too flamboyant, over the top. They kind of know the limit and play within it. So I liked all that. Maybe where it, pretty much where all, I would say, except for the first film, has issues is with that surprise ending, because I mean that's you go into a Scream movie and you're like, oh, who's gonna be the killer? I wonder who it is, blah blah blah, and stuff like that. That's kind of the fun, and then they do the big reveal at the end, and they give their whole Bond villain speech, right? And it's fun. They're all very fun when they do that. So like the only one that felt very natural was the first movie, where it's Stu and Billy. They've planned to make a real life scary movie, and they're killing all their friends, and they're gonna stab themselves and survive, and all that. So everything else is kind of reaching, like Billy's mother comes along, and Sydney has a cousin somewhere, and she turns out to be the kid. All that. So actually, here none of the killers are related to Sydney in any kind of personal way, I guess. So the killers we have in this one it's Sam's boyfriend, who's the guy from that superhero show. What's that show? It's very good. The Boys. That's it. Yeah. So it's Jack Quaid from The Boys. He's killer number one. And killer number two is some girl, one of the friends in the movie, just some random girl. So that's the reveal of the killer. So nothing too interesting. What's going on this time? They're both really big Stab fans. Stab, the franchise within a franchise, based on Gale Weathers' books. They are sick of the sequels. They want to make a new, fresh from the start sequel in real life. I don't know. They met on Reddit, I can tell you that much. But yeah, I guess that's the reason. They just want to make the real life sequel, even though that's been done before in real life. But they think they can improve the Stab movies by doing that. I guess I don't really know. So unlike the others, it has like the statement reason for the killers being the killers, but not the personal reason for being the killer. So this is kind of maybe the first time we've seen something like that. Well, maybe Scream 4 too. Wasn't really that personal, but she's related to Sydney, so what can you do? But yeah, so I guess their reasons for doing it is as pitiful as that. I guess they're making some kind of statement about fandom, toxic fandom, fans wanting things certain ways and feeling this sense of ownership. I guess I don't know. It's a flimsy point, but it's still interesting that they're playing with these ideas. It's still worth giving it some attention, but still it's a little just a lot of far-fetched stuff in this movie. Like, so I guess I mean this Jack Quaid guy. He's Sam's boyfriend, and I don't know. They didn't say how long they've been dating, but I mean obviously long enough for him to build a steady, loving, trusting relationship with each other, enough that she would bring him along to Woodsboro to protect her, and pretending to have never seen Stab before. Like, oh, Stab, what's that? I don't know. Oh, hey, it's on Netflix. Let me give it a watch. Let's see. Like he has to fake his whole life. Fake being in love with this girl, this whole relationship in Modesto, California, I think it was, where he tracked her down. So until the timing was just right and all the pieces fell into place, that's when he could do it. I don't know. It's a little silly to me. But in kind of the most superficial way, another way to look at it is, when you're first watching one of these movies and kind of guessing, maybe the best way to think about it is who in this movie would be the most fun at the end turning evil. Like, because they always kind of like turn super evil at the flip of a switch once it's revealed. And Jack Quaid, he was a good choice, and the girl was pretty good too. Like, she was. Uh, I don't think she's like a super well known actress, unless she's in some show or something. But she was good. I forget her name right now, but she's very very good. Uh, some fun. Again, very far fetched, getting burst into flames with, hand sanitizer, getting shot, accidentally turning on the oven, which happens to be, a gas oven in this day and age, and just, ball of flame. So, silly but cool, I guess. Which, I mean, you could say about all these Scream movies. Sometimes they're silly but cool. I mean, it's not like any of them are super realistic. The point is that they're hyper realistic. They are soap operatic. All of them are. Every single one. So I mean, you can take it or leave it, and I mean, you kind of have to expect stuff like these long lost relatives kind of coming into play in these plot lines, because really, what else can they do if they kind of want to continue it? With at least some kind of character anchor for the audience, other than the killer itself. So I think you know it must be just the best possible kind of idea that was within at least something of resembling the realm of possibility, was to have the long lost daughter of Billy Loomis. It's fine, it works, and it seems like she's going to be continuing on. Uh, I mean, this movie, it was very successful, like, despite not being available in Canada. In the States, it was a very, very big hit. And I can tell you right now, I'm not the only one watching it on, digital this week. It's gonna be huge, I think. So I'm sure they'll make more. I don't know if they'll get any worse as they go on. Maybe. They're going to have to stretch a little bit more to justify their own existence. So what can they really do besides their requel angle? I don't know. So it'll be hard to say, and hard to imagine yet another without bringing back Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox back for another one. Even if it was just like a little tiny cameo, you know, show Gail on TV, uh, show Sydney at home with her kids. I don't know. Just something to give some sense of continuity. I don't know, but this might be the very last one for the remaining trio, because now David Arquette's out. He's bit the big one. R.I.P. Dewey. But we'll see. We'll see what the future holds in store for Scream. But the movie itself, despite just, I have nitpicks with it, obviously. It was good. I enjoyed it. I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it kept up the spirit of the series very well. Uh, Emotionally engaging, with, mainly with, I mean, the legacy characters, obviously, because we have such a love for these characters at this point, and we're so familiar with them, right? So really, emotionally engaging in that way, and good stuff, good acting, with the characters, with trying to sell these plot lines. I think they do a good job, and good gore, good scares, good kills, good ghost face action. So it delivered. Scream, yeah, why is it called Scream? They do a little wink and nod at that too, by the way. Scream, let's just call it Scream 5 because it's Scream 5. Um, it was good. It was enjoyable. Those are my first impressions, my first thoughts on the movie. So I liked it. I thought it was very very entertaining. So that's it. I just thought I'd drop in with a random review. Thanks very much for watching. Comment, rate, subscribe, all that good stuff. Until next time, I'll see you later.